Well, we're coming along to the Promenade's work. With me is the local MHK for Douglas East, Chris Robertshaw. You're kind of concerned, I know, at the moment of what's going on, so I'm wanting to flush that out. Clearly, this work has to be done, and you all knew it was going to be done. So what's the deal here? It's pain for the gain, right?
Well, I mean, let's cut to the chase here. I mean, as residents of the Isle of Man, we're all used to, all around the island, roadworks taking somewhat longer than we'd like, and we sort of accept it. But this work down here is a completely different level. Nobody supports the need for this work to be done more than I do. But I'm now becoming increasingly concerned as to how this job is rolling out. Initially, there were problems at the north end, which there seemed to be a determination to try to deal with on an incremental basis. But what's happened now is that the job seems to have rolled out right the way along the promenade in a sort of a higgledy-piggledy confusing way. Let's look at 3 C's here: capacity, communication and coordination, and there's problems in all 3 areas. Capacity, I actually think now DOI have extended themselves beyond their own capacity to deliver the work. So they close a section of promenade off, put big railings up, nobody can get at anything, and then nothing happens for days afterwards. Frankly, that's not acceptable. Communication, they're not communicating with the businesses down here. And coordination, it seems to me that there is not the intense degree of coordination necessary. So what needs to happen now is it's reaching a crisis point, Paul, and they need to concentrate down onto smaller areas, have an intense focus on them, get the job done and move on. And as a consequence of the confusion, it's all C's this morning, isn't it? As a consequence of the confusion that's been caused, there are health and safety issues here. I mean, we're looking at a crossing point here. The lights aren't warm.
It's a temporary one, and there's a guy actually, as we speak, looking into the box. The lights are off, aren't they? The actual.
Yeah, they've been off for some considerable time. But if you also look at the sign addressed to traffic coming in the northerly direction, the sign, it doesn't appear against the lights until you're right up against it. It should be some significant way further down, warning the traffic of the temporary arrangements. On this sign here, we've got a bus stop which sits effectively in a position which means that either the pedestrians have got to disobey a rule which says don't go onto this pavement, it's closed, or the bus has to pretty well stop on the pedestrian crossing.
It did that this morning. I was actually here this morning. It was
you couldn't seriously make this up. Now that is a clear indication to me that they're not coping, that they're beyond their capacity, and the job is falling into disarray, and DOI have now got to step up to the plate, get their act together and sort things out.
But it's got to be done, right? I mean, everyone knew this had to be done. You want it to be done.
Of course I do.
So they're getting on with it. Make your mind up. You know, there's going to be this sort of situation where for a time there's going to be this sort of mess.
What you need to do, what I think they've done is that they've rushed their fences in the sense that, understandably, they want the job done in the shortest possible time. But they've extended themselves over the whole promenade, and it just simply isn't working. I mean, the other day, Saturday, I saw one vehicle travelling on the wrong side of the road in the wrong direction because the signings weren't clear enough. The way to do this now, it's a very difficult job, and my sympathy is with DOI in terms of the degree and scale of the challenge they face. But spreading themselves out like this is absolutely the wrong way to do it. They should do it in bite-sized chunks, focus on it, make sure it's safe, make sure the businesses know where they stand, make sure the traffic and the pedestrians understand what's going on, and deal with it that way.
Well, it's a massive more extension of this part of the problem near the sea terminal end than obviously in the last few weeks. This is obviously now a major bit. They've reopened Regent Street, isn't it, there? So that's open, down there's closed, but you know, as I keep saying to you, you can't have it both ways. They're getting on with it.
And I repeat my point, that because it's such a complex job, it's not just road surface, it's dealing with an awful lot of stuff beneath it. The degree of coordination needs to be intense at a level I don't think Isle of Man DOI and the utilities are used to working.
Are you saying they're incompetent or just misguided, or they haven't done their research, or what?
Probably a combination of all of those things. Right now, they aren't showing sufficient degree of competence for a major task, and it's a real worry, which is why I'm now coming on the air and saying, come on guys, realise that you're not you're not working to the necessary levels. Accept the fact that you're making mistakes. Step up to the plate and stop this chaos.
Well, we've asked Mr. Harmer. We asked him for a monthly report. We're having difficulties with our diaries at the minute to get a date, but I think it's communication. There's a lot of this. Has there been having parking here on the promenade? What do you think to that? Is that not helpful?
Of course it's helpful, as long as, for example, an older person can find their way across a crossing, which has been. Well, now they're trying to fix it.
They're still actually moving the generator as we speak. Obviously, that is a problem there for people crossing. I can see that, certainly, yeah.
Well, and of course, another one of the problems, Paul, is that they've actually tended to have too long extensions of closed promenade, so you can't cross at all. Now, some time back, I said to Ray, you need more clear temporary pedestrian crossings so that people can access the businesses in the areas they live in, and that was agreed. It hasn't been done. We've got huge swathes of the promenade shut off now, okay. And there needs to be a rethink.
Are you happy with the timescale? Because at one stage this was going to take a 10-year job. Under previous incumbents, that 10 years was moved to even 5. But this is all meant to be done by next year, isn't it? By November, I think, next year. Isn't that a good thing? Just getting on with it.
It's a good thing if they're dealing with it competently. Right now they're not. I'm sorry.